Okay, let's kick things off with a big question. What if I told you that a full quarter of your score in the IELTS General Training Writing Task 1 comes down to just one thing? Seriously, it's the foundation your entire score is built on. If you get this right, you're on a great path. But if you get it wrong, well, the whole thing can fall apart. And that one crucial thing is called task achievement. Welcome to the Explainer by IELTS Guide Phil on YouTube. Today, we're going to crack the code on that vital 25%. We'll break down exactly what it is and, more importantly, how you can master it to lock in the band score you're aiming for. So, here's our game plan for today. Think of it like the architect's blueprint for this whole explainer. First, we'll cover the why, that 25% scoring secret. Then, we'll decode what the examiners are actually looking for. After that, we get hands-on with choosing the right tone, building your letter, and dodging common mistakes. And we'll wrap it all up by taking a tour of a perfect Band 9 model. Let's get into it. All right, first things first, let's lay the groundwork. Why is task achievement just so important? Well, think about it like this. If your letter doesn't actually do what the tasks ask you to do, it doesn't matter how amazing your vocabulary is or how perfect your grammar is. It's the absolute non-negotiable foundation. And wow, take a look at this. It really puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? Your final score is split evenly 4 ways. And task achievement, it takes up a massive 25% chunk of the pie. It has the exact same weight as your cohesion, your vocabulary, and your grammar. You just can't afford to ignore it. So what does it actually mean? Well, IELTS Guide Phil boils it down to 3 key things. 1, did you fulfill the letter's main purpose? Were you complaining or inviting or requesting? 2, did you fully cover all 3 of those bullet points they give you? And 3, did you use the right tone for the person you're writing to? That's it. It's that simple and, that complex. Okay, so let's keep building on that. If you want to score high, you've got to start thinking like an examiner. And understanding the band score descriptions is like getting the client's brief before you start designing the building. It tells you exactly what they expect to see. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the specific words the examiners use. For Band 9, you have to fully address and develop everything with a consistent tone. But for a Band 7 or 8, the magic word is sufficiently. And down at a Band 5 or 6, you're only addressing the task generally. See that progression? From general to sufficient to fully developed? That's the ladder you need to climb to get a higher score. This brings us to a really key decision, the tone of your letter. The best way to think about tone is like the architectural style of your building. You wouldn't design a formal corporate skyscraper to look like a cozy, casual beach house, right? The style has to match the purpose and the person receiving it. So, IELTS Guide Phil breaks it down into 3 main styles. First, you've got formal. This is for companies, organizations, or anyone you don't know personally. Then there's semi-formal, for people you know in a professional way, like a boss or a landlord. And finally, informal, which is just for your friends and family. Getting this choice right from the start is absolutely crucial. And you can see right away how much that choice changes your language. A formal letter might start with Dear Sir/Madam, while an informal one is just Dear John. The purpose statement goes from I am writing to express to something more casual, like I'm writing to invite you. Even the closing is totally different. The big takeaway here is consistency. Pick a tone and stick with it. Okay, so we've picked our architectural style. Now it's time to actually build the letter. This is the nuts and bolts, step-by-step process for putting together a response that's going to tick all the boxes for task achievement. The structure is pretty simple, which is great news. First, right at the beginning, clearly state why you're writing. Then, you're going to give each of the 3 bullet points its own focused attention. Usually that means a separate paragraph for each. And finally, you wrap it up with the right kind of closing. And remember, don't just mention the points. You have to expand on them, give details. So before you consider the job done, you need to run a quality inspection. Think of this section as your final checklist to catch those common mistakes and structural flaws that can really pull down your task achievement score. Okay, here it is, probably the biggest trap of them all, weak bullet point development. Just look at the example on the left. I want to complain about the food. It was bad. What does bad even mean? It's so vague. Now look at the expert fix on the right. It gives specifics. Undercooked chicken, vegetables were not fresh, and crucially, it explains the impact. This ruined a special celebration. Now that is what fully developed looks like. And trap number 2 is mixing your tones. Starting a formal letter with dear sir/madam and then dropping in slang like I'm totally bummed, it's a huge red flag for the examiner. It just screams inconsistency. The expert fix shows you how it's done. You maintain that professional, formal tone from the very first word to the very last. So let's just do a quick recap with a final checklist. You absolutely do need to address all 3 bullet points fully. You do need to maintain a consistent tone, and you do need to write over 150 words. On the other hand, you don't ever want to ignore a bullet point, mix your formal and informal language, or use the wrong opening and closing. Got it? All right, we've seen the blueprint, we've gone through the quality inspection checklist. Now it's time to take a tour of the finished product. We're going to deconstruct a Band 9 model answer from IELTS Guide Phil so we can see all these principles working together in perfect harmony. So here's the scenario. You bought some kitchen equipment, but it's faulty. You called the shop for help, but got nowhere. The task is to write to the manager. You need to describe the problem, explain what happened on the phone, and say what you want them to do. A classic formal letter of complaint. Let's start right at the top with the opening. Bam. The purpose is immediately crystal clear. The writer says they're writing to express serious concern about 2 things, the faulty product and the bad service. The formal tone is set perfectly from sentence 1. Now let's look at how they handle the first bullet point, describing the problem. And check out the level of detail. They give the exact model number. They say precisely when it broke. This is so much more than just saying, my coffee machine is broken. This is a full, detailed explanation that leaves no room for questions. Next up, the writer tackles that second bullet point, what happened on the phone call. And again, it is packed with specific details, the date of the call, what the employee said, and the writer's reaction to it. This paragraph completely covers the requirement and keeps up that firm yet formal tone. And finally, the closing. The third bullet point is handled with a super clear, direct request. Replace the faulty coffee machine. There's no waffling around. Then it's followed by a standard closing line and the correct sign-off, yours faithfully, which is the perfect match for an opening like Dear Sir/Madam. So after seeing how all those pieces come together so perfectly in a Band 9 response, that clear purpose, the full development of every point, and that rock-solid consistent tone, the only question left is, are you ready to take these principles and build your own? Because you absolutely can. If you want to keep learning, you can read the full blog post that this explainer was based on over at IELTSguildphil.com. And of course, be sure to check out more video explainers right here on the YouTube channel, listen to some deep dives on the Spotify podcast, and join the amazing and supportive community on Facebook. Don't worry, all the links are right there for you in the description below. And hey, if you feel like you need that personalized feedback to really push your writing and speaking skills to the next level, just drop a comment below to find out more about IELTS Guide Phil's online coaching service. Thanks so much for watching.